What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So finally, we have some good news when it comes to the debt ceiling, so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about why an increase is needed for Social Security. I did a video 3 weeks ago where I talked about why this $516 increase would be needed for all people receiving Social Security. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to show you an illustration of exactly why this is. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, if you're not getting notifications, let me know in the comments below, and also follow me on Twitter at the TEC Show Live. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this debt ceiling bill. So this is coming from CBS. It says, Senate passes a debt ceiling bill, sending measure to Biden to avert default. So we're in a good situation right now because the Senate went ahead and passed this bill in one day, which was pretty amazing because generally it takes them a little bit longer to pass a bill, but they did have some amendments. I think they had about 11 amendments, but an amendment, basically they're having these separate votes that were going on, but they kept it short. And these senators knew if they were going to try to stall this, it's just going to mean that they would have to work over the weekend. You know, they don't want to work over the weekend. So they went ahead and got it done last night. And so that's good news. And the vote count was 63 yes and 36 no. And so now this will go to the president. He'll probably sign it sometime today. And so we've averted this whole debt ceiling crisis that we were fearing. So that is good news for our economy. That's good news for everyone. And we'll just have to see what's next, because there's always something next, right? I showed you guys a video yesterday where I was showing you Speaker McCarthy talking about what's next on the agenda, and he was talking about cutting entitlement programs. And so that's something that we're going to be following really closely on this channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell notification, because if he's talking about that and he's going to set up this commission, I'm going to be following the progress. So when they have their meetings, I'm going to be following it. Hopefully it's not going to be behind closed doors. I would think that since you have Congress people that are going to be involved, it won't be behind closed doors. They have to have some type of transparency, but we're going to have to figure out what they're talking about when it comes to cutting programs and basically cutting mandatory spending is what is going to be on their agenda. Okay, let me show you guys this. I want to show you this illustration. You guys know I like doing illustrations. This is just the way that I learn is through illustrations, and so that's why I like doing them. But I just want to go over kind of the process of you working, paying into the payroll tax, and then where your money goes from that point, and then when you retire, how your money comes back to you, and the reason why there's an increase that's needed for people who are receiving Social Security. So that's what we're going to focus on with this illustration. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So we have this gentleman here. He's working at a refinery, and so he's paying in Social Security. He's paying a payroll tax, right? So he's got 6.2%. That's what he pays. And then you have his employer, which is up here. His employer's paying 6.2%. And that money is all going to the Social Security Administration. Okay. Now, years ago, when you had so many people working and you had so much money that was coming in, some of this money was actually going into the Social Security Administration, and then it was going to the trust fund because they had money left over. So normally what would happen is 6.2% here, 6.2% here. It will go to a person who is currently retired, currently receiving Social Security benefits. So that's the way it would go. But since they had money left over, they diverted some of that money to the trust funds. And that's why the trust funds has money now. However, we're in a situation now where that no longer happens because there's not enough money coming in with the workers and with the match that the businesses are doing. There's not enough money coming in order to fulfill the benefits that people are receiving right now. And so what they're doing is, since there's already money in the trust fund, that money is also coming to supplement benefits. And that's why economists are saying in about 10 years, this money here in the trust fund will run out. And when that money runs out, that's why they're saying there'll be a decrease of about 23%. Okay. That's because when this money is gone, they're only going to be taking money from the people who are currently working. So the people who are currently working, 6.2% from them, and then 6.2 percent from the company. Okay, so that's the whole situation that we're in right now when it comes to the whole trust fund, and that's why they're saying, well, the trust fund's going bankrupt, and what are we going to do, and all this. That's the reason why they're having this discussion. Okay, so we're just going to back up a little bit and say 6.2% is coming from the company, 6.2% is coming from you. That money is going to Social Security Administration, going to Social Security Administration here, and then that money is coming to you. And then there's still money in the trust fund, so that money from the trust fund is also coming to you. So it's great. You've retired. You now have you're receiving Social Security benefits. So there are things that you need to be concerned about when you retire. And one of those things is the economy. How is the economy doing? If the economy is doing bad, then you're probably going to be struggling, right? You're going to be suffering. Even if the economy is doing really well, you can still suffer. Why? Because of inflation. And the situation that we're in right now, the economy is not bad, but inflation is high. As a matter of fact, the way things are going right now, you have businesses, they're looking to hire more people and they can't. So our economy is not bad. It's just the fact that we have inflation. And so that's an issue that we're dealing with. You're also going to be paying attention to COLA. You want to know what's the cost of living adjustment going to be for 2024 and on down the line, because you want that cost of living adjustment to keep up with inflation. And if it doesn't keep up with inflation, now you're in trouble because your dollar is not as strong. Okay, the value of your money is not the same as it was in the past. Okay, so now let's take a look at this study that the Senior Citizens League did. They said that in 2000, if you started receiving Social Security in 2000 and we move up to 2023, you would need an additional $516 just to get you $516 per month just to get you up to where inflation is. Okay, so the value of your dollar would be the same in 2000 as it is right now. You need $516 in order to make that happen. So basically what's happening right now, or what happened, is at this point, the dollar was good. But then as we started moving up, it started falling off. And now it's fallen off. And so you're about right here when you need to actually be here. And this is where the $516 needs to be in order to offset where we are right now when it comes to inflation. Okay. So this is for people who started receiving Social Security in 2000, but you still have people who started maybe in 2010 or 2015. It might not be $516 or it won't be $516, but it might be $250 or $280 or something like that. Okay, so it's not going to be the same for everyone. But for this study, they just looked at people who started receiving Social Security in 2000. And so that's why, just not even looking at all the stuff that's going on when you hear about these different proposals that are out there. You have Senator Bernie Sanders saying $2,400 raise for Social Security. You have Representative Larson talking about increases to bring people up above the poverty line, as well as increases just to offset inflation. He has like a 2% increase on top of what COLA is, and then changing the CPI-W, changing it to the CPI-E, and all this stuff. Now, if I'm saying this stuff and you guys have no clue what I'm talking about, check out some of my other videos. I'll post a link so you guys can check out some of those videos and it'll get you up to speed. I try to give you as much information as possible, and sometimes I might say things you might not understand it. So if you don't understand it, go back. There's some videos where I talk about the CPI-E, the CPI-W, why we should be going with the CPI-E instead of the CPI-W. So just check those videos out. I'll have some links so you guys can go to, so it will kind of direct you. But where we are right now, $516, that is what's needed to get you to the point where now the value of your dollar is the same as it was in 2000, but we still need to focus on inflation right now because they're taking the CPI-W and that's how they're calculating COLA. And so COLA for 2024, even if that $516 was, let's say they said, okay, we're going to start doing that $516 per month, we're still looking at a situation where COLA in 2024 might not be enough to keep up with inflation. And so 10 more years down the road, you're going to fall back down again, even if you get that boost. And so they need to focus on two things here. They need to focus on the cost of living adjustment and make sure that that cost of living adjustment is keeping up with inflation. And that's why I think Representative Larson's plan is good, because they're giving you an additional 2%. So even whatever they come up with when it comes to COLA, what the calculations, let's say it's 3.1%. The Senior Citizens League is saying that they think it should be around 3.1%. That's just their estimate. That's an early estimate because we haven't even gotten into the months where where they're going to start calculating. They're going to start calculating in July, August, and September. Once we get to those months, then we'll have a better idea. And I'll be walking you through this whole thing. I did it last year where I walk you through, and I'll do it again for 2024. And so hopefully that makes sense. Now, as I stated, there are two things that need to be done. There needs to be an increase for Social Security, across the board increase. And then you need to have some type of mechanism that keeps up with inflation. Because if it doesn't keep up with inflation, then what's the point? You have people who are paying into Social Security, and now that they're receiving the benefits aren't keeping up with inflation. We have no control over the economy. When I say we, I'm talking people when they retire. You don't have control over the economy. And so if you don't have control over it, it's up to the government to look and say, okay, you know what? Inflation is high. We need to offset this, and we need to put it at a level where the dollar is the same for those people who have retired. Because the people did their job. They worked, they paid into the payroll tax, the employer paid into the payroll tax, and those benefits were helping the people that were receiving benefits at that time. And now they're retired, so it's up to the federal government to say, you know what? We need to honor that. We need to honor that and make sure that that dollar that they're receiving has the same dollar value that it had 20 years ago. 30 years ago. And so let me know what you guys think about this. And this is why I focus on an increase. And I always say that an increase needs to happen. No matter what we're seeing when it comes to Social Security reform, all the different bills that are out there, you have some bills that are out there right now that do have an increase with them, but we need to see an increase in order to offset the problem with inflation that we've seen over the years. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.